So I started off as an infantry officer.
Yeah!
Maybe I should say that we were the pioneer infantry female officers. There was about 15 of us, so we were the pioneers, and it wasn't that easy. Basically, being a platoon commander entails you as a young officer in your, say, 20s, early 20s, commanding a group of men and maybe a few women, all of whom are older than you.
Some old enough to be your dad.
Yeah, some of them old enough to be your parents. Yeah. And you have to guide them and lead them and offer them, guidance in their day-to-day lives.
And what is worse, they are looking to you for that.
Exactly. Yes. And never mind that you just graduated the previous man. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You as your commander, you have to lead the way.
Nyota.
Exactly. So yeah, that's where I started off. Then I made a very short stint at the recruits training school as an instructor. Also, they wanted to introduce this concept of having female instructors, officers within the school. And then after that, I landed at military police. I did the training, and then I was retained there for 10 years.
I know, for the longest time. That's
that's basically my story. So after police, I was seconded to Kenya Ordnance Factories Corporation as the security and safety manager.
Yeah.
Where I stayed for about a year and a half before I left the military. So my last position was as a security manager.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so right now you still want to continue focusing on security, and because I think it's a field you understand.
Yes, I do understand. Yeah. And the thing is, so I somehow feel like, having served the 14 years in the army, I have done my part in terms of, public service.
It's true.
Public service.
Yeah, very true. And I think public service is so important.
Yes,
I
it
usually
is.
feel like I need to recommend it to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do it.
Yeah, true.
And not just for anything else, but for me, I feel to just appreciate, to get a feel of this country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
Because it's the only place you will meet everybody.
Exactly.
And yeah.
And it also inculcates in you this patriotism.
It's true, because even right now you're out,
yes.
But what you want to do is actually patriotic. People think that, let the people in uniform be patriotic.
Yeah,
well,
let them sort it.
Me right now, I'm thinking the only way to end the problems that we have in this country is to actually introduce conscription. I know, a lot of people are like, no. But, for me, I think for me, basic training helped me appreciate my role as a Kenyan, and take seriously the words of our national anthem, but also improve the relations, because this is Kenya and there's not a Kenya and there's no better Kenya.
True.
And there's
very
nowhere
true.
else.
Very true.
And everybody is important.
Yeah, that's true.
And so even right now, you've done your stint, like you said, but what you want to do is still patriotic.
Yeah, it is. And as I said, I mean, I was very... technically, I should not be here right now.
No, I am one of those people who say to you, I know. I'm who say that. I know, but I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, guys were like, why are you coming? Why are you in such a rush? Your visa is still valid. You can still stay there for another 6 months. And I'm like, what am I doing here? Every day I look at the news, I see what is happening in my country. I see what is happening in Africa. And I'm like, why should I sit here if I can go back home and make a difference in my own small way? It doesn't have to be a big way. I mean, and in the process, as they say, you erase your carbon print, and you make a difference. True. Yeah, so I'm all about that. It's just about finding ways to make Africa a safer place for everyone,
And I remember this ringing in my head when I went to my daughter's school for an event, and armed policemen were in the vicinity walking around. And I said to myself, I don't want this. I don't want this. This is not the Kenya I want.
True.
Where policemen have to come and guard a school because some bad man is going to come out there and try to hurt our kids.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want that.
True.
But me, I'm about mental health. So I help people deal with that anxiety. But you make it go away. Make the bad man go away.
Well, there is that concept. But then I sort of had a change of heart. I am trying to look at the people who have ended up being victims during this whole process. So I for now I'm gonna leave the military and the police and the interior for them to actually deal with the bad guys. So what I'm all about right now is the people who, as a result of these negative activities, are getting affected or are getting displaced, and who end up being placed in more risk, being exposed to more risk as a result of the happenings, not because it's their fault.
I love
and
it.
they don't have options.
So you want to be able to be part of creating safe spaces for people who have been victims of insecurity.
Yes, exactly.
How is that any different from what I'm doing? Like, you see? Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, true. So that's what I'm all about.
That's amazing.
That's what I'm all about.
Actually, people never think about it. People just think, by the way, oh my gosh, you're so right.
Let's just deal with the bad guys. But then what happens to the group of people who, as a result of these negative activities, are being affected? Their lives have been affected. What happens to them?
Wow, that
is
deep, man.
Yeah, and as I told you, the manner in which risks are ever evolving.
Yeah.
You cannot employ the same tactics that was employed during the World War
to
fight Al-Shabaab right now. It cannot work. So you have to be always changing with the times. So that's one of the things that I have found to be lacking in I don't know if I should say generally speaking, in our education system. We tend to be stuck more on the history, and we are not keeping ourselves abreast in terms of, okay, maybe some sectors like business, of course, they're doing it, IT.
Because of the motivation of money.
Yes, but no one is sitting down and thinking of how can you do things differently. And you cannot apply a policy blanket and of an issue and expect it to yield results. You need to be analyzing these different aspects. So for everything, you have to tailor-make a solution for it. Don't just give a policy and say, we're going to have a curfew from 6 p.m. How is that going to solve some issues?
I don't know.
Maybe some, but not all issues. Right. You need to be specific.
So it should be like a multi-pronged approach.
Exactly. That's exactly what we need.
Yeah, it's the same thing with mental health. This is very interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think we're speaking the same language in the sense that our problems right now require not even an out-of-box sort of thinking. It requires just take the box and burn it. No, really, just burn the damn thing. Yeah, because the kind of situation that we're in right now just requires adaptive thinking.
Yeah, true.
Adaptive leadership. And that's why for me, I get so sad when I see us sometimes focus on silly things.
Yeah, true.
Silly things like where are you from? Like
I know. Actually, the other day I was applying for a job, and one of the things they asked me is, "What's your ethnicity?" And I'm like, "I'm Kenyan. I have an ID."
This is it.
Why does it matter which part of the country I'm coming from?
Nothing needs to stop.
Really, it doesn't matter. We are all Kenyans at the end of the day. The minute you start dividing people into 40 plus tribes, what does that do to us as a country?
It's such a concern for me that I feel the only way to get people to understand, or the only way to effect change, is to set the example. And your example should be like this tower at the top of the hill that illuminates, and everybody can look up and see it. Because I think unless there is that people can look up to and say, man, it shines so bright, then we'll just keep doing things the way we're doing.
Yeah,
things.
true.
Like, how for you, how does it matter to you what, seriously, you are so brilliant. For somebody to even come and reduce you to that, it's offensive.
Yeah,
Can we
true.
punch this
True.
know?
But anyway, I asked them, I was like, why do you have to do this?
Good.
And they explained, and they were like, it's because we want to obtain some bit of regional balance, make sure we employ people from all parts of Kenya. That made sense. But then when you meet people and you introduce yourself, and someone is eager to know, Susan who? And I'm like, Osembo, like, are you from Nyanza? You look like you're from Nyanza. Or are you from West? No. Are you from Kisii? I'm like, none of the above. I am a Kenyan.
Period.
Please look at me as a Kenyan first, then everything else will fall in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it so interesting. My daughter the other day, when all this politics thing was going on. By the way, my daughter was NASA. Funny enough. No, I
Okay,
promise
interesting.
you. Yeah, she was. And you know why she was? She loved the songs.
Okay.
So if she was to vote, she would vote for them because of the song. So yeah, maybe that's a tip.
Yep.
But me, I respected that. Me, I was not even anything. For me, I was just like, I had so much pre-election anxiety. I was just like, me, you know, I just want peace.
Yeah,
you know.
just need it.
So she comes to me and, you know, she starts talking to me about issues of tribe. And so she says, so which one am I? And I had to tell her, you're a Kenyan. Then I'm like, where is this conversation coming from? It's like, no, the other kids are talking about it, you know. And I'm like, okay, yes, this is my opportunity to begin to talk to her about, you know, this tribe issue, make her Kenyan, but make her proud of her heritage. But, you know, for some of us, try as we may, we cannot, you know, like, I can't sit up straight myself and say, I'm a Kikuyu. I'm not. Because I come from a mixed heritage.
Yeah, true. Same here.
Exactly. And for my daughter, 3 times that.
Yeah, exactly.
So when
It's
you
for the
try and
kids.
put her in a tribal, I'm like, what are you talking about?
She doesn't fit in a box.
She can't.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, another solution in addition to, for anybody who is listening, to conscription is a law. You will not marry from your ethnic.
It's gonna be impossible.
No, you know, I have to dream big.
Yeah,
You know, this is like my blue skies. Yes. You will not marry from your ethnic tribe. You do it to render jela. I mean, if people are going to jail for stealing chicken,
Tell me about it.
you know, why can't people, and having plastic, now they are fines.
I know. How many millions?
Yeah, you know, so why can't we do... Anyway, there are some things you can't control with the law. And I
Yeah,
understand
true,
that.
true.
And me, I won't even dabble with the law because I know nothing about the law. I know a lot about mental health. And so, you know, what contribution can, you know, human behavior, understanding contribute in just Kenyanizing us, you know?
Yeah.
And like you said, it's also an issue of safety and security and peace and safe spaces that come with that, you know,
true.
and just seeing that they're all intertwined, So yeah, thank you for that new perspective you've given me today. You know, I am so proud of you.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
am so proud of the work that you've done already. I am so proud of the work that you're going to do. I am so excited.
Yeah.
You know, to see what you do next. I'm
Yeah.
just like, yes, you know, I know that woman.
Yep.
You know, I am so excited to just be able to see what happens next.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I can't give you my strategy or
You
my
don't have
plans
to have
because
one.
I'm not even sure what the future holds for me, what God has in store for me. I know it's going to be big. It's going to be great. It's going to be better.
Yes, it's gonna be big.
It's going to be better. It has to be better.